Hey, what's up, everyone? What is up, everyone out there on YouTube and Twitch and Kick? We're going to do some more Bloons because this game is my bee's knees. So that's what we start with. Good old Bloons, and then we dive into the content stuff. How are you guys doing today? Anything interesting going on in your lives? Anything interesting in the news? Always remember, if you need closed captioning and you don't see the CC icon on the lower left of your screen, disable your ad blocker temporarily so that way you can set all the closed captioning settings you need for a better viewing experience. What to do today? Maybe continue with downstream because that was a mess. Oh boy, half cash. That is my least favorite mode. I think that's everyone's least favorite mode in Bloons though. So I fully admit in full transparency, I just blast through half cash because I can't stand it. My goal is to have fun with the game. I don't really have fun with half cash mode. And I realized I need to change my hero. Forgot to do that. Go with my boy Oben.
The spirits of the mountain awaken.
My top 3 heroes are definitely Oben, Sada, and Adora. But that's just because Sada is the bomb. And Adora is adorable. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. That's kind of the point. And Oben, well, Mountain Oben just looks cool. He's got a nice color scheme.
Awaken.
A little Hulk Hogan,
Yes.
but I think it's a pretty unique one, especially because he puts up little lava flows instead of trees, the forest trees. Okay. I could, but I think we'll be fine with Oben. Let's see. Almost. Always throw down the spawns there. See, Oben's just generally cool. And all those skins give you something a little bit different visually. I mean, all skins do, but his homing projectile there, I think it looks pretty cool.
Arise, strength.
No, let's not do that. This is always a fun strat. Put it in the center here instead of clean up there at the end. One of the good things about Spactory is faster production. So that's what we're going to do today. I say good, but in reality, it's one of the great things because going
With
middle
time
path
comes power.
for Spactory is always a smart move in most situations. And because there is a good synergy between Oben and
Massive.
Druid, we will put a Druid right there at the tippy top little end before the river. I noticed there are a lot of people out there who don't buy Heart of Thunder, which I think is a little odd. And the excuses I've seen for that are that it doesn't always work right. But in my experience, even from a couple of years ago, it's always worked right. I know that they updated him recently, so it's a bit more consistent, but it's really worth the cost to buy it, because if you don't and you get a big lead rush, it can absolutely destroy your day. And we can't let the Bloons win, because if we do that, then we don't have any bananas. And without bananas, well, then we're just not monkeys, are we? And this is why using a factory middle path right here is such a good idea. It perfectly covers all ground, which you can't beat.
Strength.
Now the fun part is deciding whether to go top path or middle path. Because if we go top path and go Druid of the Storm, that could slow things down. But, just go with the tried and true. Go with middle path. We'll go with middle paths today. See what we can pull off. Half cash mode is everyone's least favorite mode. And I think that's not only because of the challenge, but a lot of times you don't want to sit here and have to really think that hard about planning it. A lot of people play Bloons just to relax. And I think that is what causes me to lose right now. But yeah, figured that might not work out. So we will continue. And that's the decision between top and middle path when you're going for Monkey Taker, aka Druid. Now, in that situation, going top path might have given a little bit more blowback, so that would have helped out. But if I had bought Jungle's Bounty, would have helped out even more. So, Moab Shredder would also help in this situation. But I wasn't paying too much attention to how much cash I had, so that was my fault. Not quite. Go home, load back in. And I am just warming up. So, may as well just buy Jungle's Bounty, grab Moab Shredder, because I have the dough to do it anyway. Then we'll remove you. And I have an idea, but I'll put it right here to start. Bigger blast. Has to reload.
You call that big?
There we go, that worked out. Boom Buster. Reload. I really wish we had the ability to aim where these landed. Getting the timing right to get it to where you want it to go, that can be a little rough, but I think there's also a lot of RNG in it. more than there is which direction he's looking. Here. Still cover, maybe not. And good old Spike Storm, which is arguably one of the best towers in the game, simply because it's full map coverage and spikes are, bar none, one of the best projectiles that there are. With all the pierce that comes along with them being hot spikes and everything else, it only makes sense to use this tower as much as you can.
You call that big?
Alright, the big one. Now see, that was where this idea was heading. Because of the shockwave that comes with it, now I can put it right in the center there, and it should get everything in the radius. Now, here is one thing that we can aim. We'll go back here just for safekeeping. That is easily my most favorite power. It just gobbles up the Moabs, the Bloons, and it spits them out into an airy heaven.
You call that big?
That's what she said. And I said, why, yes. It's working out for the most part back there. The earth does swallow all, that is true. Everything that dies ends up inside the earth's belly, and the cycle continues over and over and over, infinitely.
The mountains have you call that big?
And everyone goes where they're supposed to go. Whether that's being a new tree, a leaf on the tree, an ant, or you ascend, i.e. Stargate SG-1. Which we all ascend in the end, actually, so that is true, which is one of the great things about that show. There's a lot of good wisdom in SG-1. Let's see what he can do. Can he help us? Oh, that was so close.
Defenses.
So very close. Downstream is a difficult map. It looks deceptively simple, but it is difficult.
You call that big? The mountains have no swallows. All.
Oh, much better. And I know that people like when streamers are constantly chatting and talking because that's supposedly entertaining, but this game does require a fair amount of focus, so
You call that
if that
big?
bugs you,
Shall
too bad.
swallow all. The mountains have no equal.
If you're not paying attention, that's how you lose in this game.
Alright. The mountains have no equal.
Oh, shit. Oh, come on. Come on, you can do it.
Improve
Ooh,
our
that was
defenses.
close. I almost have enough for the biggest one. What I need. I'm almost there. I'm so close.
You call mountains have no swallows. All we shall endure this.
I might grab myself. Oh, let's see. Almost there for a carpet of spikes. What to do? Well, you know what? We're dealing in X-rays today. But there's also a bit of an issue there. But if you don't upgrade him past a certain way, he can pop purple balloons. That is a positive.
Shall endure. The mountains have no evil.
But Dark Knight is still the best. Sun Avatar, that gets complicated. We'll grab a Dark Knight. And that still counts as X-rays.
Swallow all. Arise.
And he's also really good against all things big and strong, which only makes sense because he is Super Monkey, the Clark Kent of monkeys. I remember when Bloons TD6 came up in my Steam account years ago, and I was like, wait, Bloons? And then I remember Bloons Super Monkey, and I was like, wait, that's the same thing.
The mountains have no earth. Swallow.
And the rest is history. That was like 2017, 2018, I think, which was pretty much when TD6 came out.
Have no equal.
Bloons Super Monkey, I wish they'd remake that and make it like bigger and better, like some kind of big badass RPG, because that would be super cool. I was a huge fan of that game and went back to it a few times over the years in life because it was just fun. The old Flash days of Ninja Kiwi.
The mountains have no equal.
We will go with the biggest one, which I think is a good tower. Now, with rapid reload, probably not. I did that for this map on purpose, but typically the biggest one is pretty solid for really busting up the big ones. Ooh, barely saved that. Barely.
Swallow. The mountains have no equal.
Boom. See? Biggest one can handle certain things. Reinforced Moabs, for sure. No, I could have just gone Spirit of the Forest and then called it a day, but hey. Go ahead and throw those down, and voila, we have succeeded. All right. Now to chimps this or not? Well, I haven't made it that far yet, but because then we got to do alternate bloom rounds. But the question is, what exactly do I want to do? We know leads are a problem. We know camo's a problem. And with leads and camo being a problem, you can't go wrong with having a plane. But actually, let me go back and turn off double cache mode. Whoops, forgot to do that. All right, let's do that again. Do a boomerang start. Let's see if he can hold up the fort on his lonesome. Just about. And that's where we run into issues. Don't have enough for night vision goggles, of course. So we'll do a dart monkey start. Long range, enhanced eyesight, sharp. See how far we get with you. That's not gonna cut it in impoppable or chimps, but I'll take it. Not enough for crossbow. Okay. Well then, we know who to put down. Ninja start. That'll work. There we go. That's better. And they lowered the price of Ninja Monkey a long time ago, so that does offer some modicum of change in your starting strats, but not enough. See, if you could get caltrops off the bat pretty solid like that, that would be most beneficial. But that takes time. Ninja discipline. So that way we get the speed boost, we get a little bit of faster popping action going on. See, now we're cruising. Until we run into that little nemesis there. Nope. Gonna restart one more time. That wanted to work, but it did not want to work. And if we got leads coming out, camo leads, that is. This probably is not the greatest idea here, but we're gonna need it. Let's give these two a shot. Ha ha, pun intended. We'll put on strong for the time being, so he can give a little breathing room, hopefully. And then micro that just a tad bit. Gonna need top path for Full Metal Jacket to deal with those camo leads. So there we go. Now we have camo leads dealt with. Oh. We only got saved because of the spikes. Alright, here we go. He's definitely going to need an elk to speed him up just a smidgen. More speed. Tired of getting saved by the bell because that's the only reason I haven't died yet. These sneaky Bloons, they're made of rubber, and when you try to jump at them and hug them, they just fly out of your hands. Shrapnel shot, there we go. That'll make things much smoother. Throw down the caltrops. That will do a lot to help. And then we'll remove you. We'll throw you down. Throw old Wizzy Woo down. Extra camo protection here, because this will get hectic being alternate bloom rounds. See what I mean? Because he can't get rid of that lead until large caliber. But wall of fire always saves the day. Not the greatest placement there. We would want that more right there, but hey, I'll take it. There we go. I'm going to go with Necro down here, because with the insanity that's about to come our way, that's actually going to be a smart idea. And he can pop camo, so these two can complement each other while he hopefully carries the popping, the main popping. I'm not really the biggest fan of top path and Ninja Monkey. Master Bomb or bottom path tier 3 is really the way to go. Now, if I did a ninja strat and just stacked a bunch of ninjas around here, I could go middle path. But Alk is so much simpler. Shimmer. He has such a hard time keeping up, it's ridiculous. Put him on close to see what happens. Just out of curiosity. Oh, well, actually that did help a fair amount. See what happens when you just press buttons sometimes. Unpopped army, there we go. Now you understand why it's a wonderful idea to just keep yourself a Prince of Darkness Necro down here and call it a day sometimes, because it's a revolving door of balloon ghosts. They see their friends here who've died and they're like, oh shit, and then they get out of the way real quick. Or they just join them and they become reanimated. Such is the cycle of life. Now, this is gonna be a problem. Yeah, nope. I can feel the loss coming. Now, Deadly Precision would be good, but I don't have enough money to help with that. Now, I could always pick Bloon Jutsu, but I don't think that's going to save me either. We need more power. So, a cheap way of getting more power to deal with the Moabs is the old bazooka gun, the bomb. Faster reload and Moab mauler. Come on now. Damn, still not enough. Whoop. right. Just to double check. Do I have enough? Nope, I'm still short. So I probably accidentally just saved, and that was a mistake, but let's hope not. Okay, good. It did not. Now, there is one other thing I could try. And that would be our good friend the plane here. Put him on figure infinite. Sharper darts, never miss targeting. Now, that's a risk. For many reasons, because I don't have top path enabled. Ooh, it wants to work. But without top path, it's not going to work. We need the sharper darts in order to actually make that work out. So there is just one other thing that we can do, the usual, but I don't want to rely on Spactory this time around. Let's just give it a shot and see if Bouncing Bullet can handle it, but I highly doubt it. Nope, not gonna happen. Didn't think it would. Let's put Moab Mauler right in here. Actually, we're getting kind of messed up here. So let's put it here. Let's see what we get out of it. Nope, still not gonna work. All right then. Maybe if we put an elk on you, it'll add just enough extra pierce, maybe. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, still not gonna cut it. It was close though. Well, truth be told, you can never have too much fire. So let's see, will this work out? Because he is a lead-based tower, but nope, not gonna help. If I had Ring of Fire, that would have worked, which I could get if I just sold Sniper Monkey. But I feel like he's helping out a fair amount. But unfortunately, cost is being prohibitive. So I'm going to make a little bit of a risky move here and go main Moab. And then rebuy. Wall of Fire. And this will absolutely take care of the problem. Like I said. Oh, oh, you know what? I'll take it. Just get those balloons. There we go. Alright. Still terrible placement for that fire. But there we go, take care of that. Feeling strong. Oh boy. Terrible. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work out. Well, Downstream is absolutely taking me downstream today. I have no paddle, I have no lifeguard, no suit, no nothing. I am down shit creek, or up it, however you want to look at it. Which is unfortunate, because this is not working as I would like it to. And I'm just shy of getting Necromancer back. But what we can do is slow things down just a little bit. That might just give us what we need. Don't know how that got set on last. They certainly didn't do that. There we go. Watching me lose sure is a whole bunch of fun. It's a bunch of monkeys in a barrel. And they're being chaotic because that's just what monkeys do. But at least these monkeys fling weaponry and not shit, so that's always a positive. That's why you can't mess with the monkeys at the zoo. You don't want to shake their hand. They might seem friendly, but that's why they always got that cheeky smile going on. Oh no, don't run out of your army down here. That's not going to help anyone. Team these two up still, though. Now we can power these two up at the same time. And we have a lot of cleanup concentrated here in the center. Main Moab saving the day there. And we still have quite a few rounds to go, so. And yes, I use the cat ears for obvious reasons, you know, cosmic calico. I got 4 cats because cat's the best. So I have to make sure that my balloons match the brand. You know what I'm saying? If the balloons don't match the brand, then there is no brand. It's a cosmic failure, like most of today's gaming session has been. But that's how the balloons tumbleweeds, something like that. They bounce, they move, they glide. I actually don't use middle path glue a lot, but it works really well, particularly if you do use top path. But Glue Storm and Glue Strike do have their benefits, and they have their uses depending on the map and all sorts of other specifics. It would be nice if I could save up. Good old POD. I need to aim these. They are doing just fine. I really wish you could aim this wall of fire better, though, but alas, you cannot. think I'm gonna go with I think that's the better option. That usually ends up being the better option. More time to pop. And that's the thing with downstream. Everything comes so fast on this particular map that it's often a good idea to try and slow down as much as you can. So that way your other towers can do their jobs. Quite efficiently, might I add. Well, not as efficiently as the planning would seem. At least not today. Could you imagine waking up and having one of the Necromancer's Bloons looking at you like that? They're too cute. So you're gonna have no choice but to like grab it and squeeze it and go back to bed, you know? You're like, oh, you're too cute little Bloon. The Bloons and the monkeys might disagree, but they're still all cute. Excessively cute. It took too long to get here where we are with this smoothness of gameplay, but that's what happens sometimes. That's the way the banana splits. I don't think we need Relentless Blue, not yet. 10,000 away from getting the Prince of Darkness. You wouldn't think that Alchemist would be good paired with a Prince of Darkness or Necromancer, but the added pierce and population of the Bloons, attack speed and all that is actually really, really smart. And I just realized we're on round 68, so see, even round 63 couldn't mess with us. One of the things that's funny about this game is when you're popping Bloons and depending on the song that's on, it'll pop it to the beat, which I think is like the coolest thing ever. And I'm sure that is a matter of math and just general timing coincidence. You know, technically, I could have already got an attack zone, but attack zone's not as cool as Prince of Darkness. So. And now we just sit here and it destroys. This is the point you want to get to when you're playing Bloons most of the time, where you can just sit and watch all the destruction occur. All the chaos has been turned into calm. Like the Calm app, you just get to meditate. Yes, we are winning. But it took a lot of losing to get here. Too much, in fact. Realistically, we probably don't even need... Yeah, I named him Commando for obvious reasons too. That's one of my favorite action movies. And I don't really like movies, so that's saying a lot. Too much propaganda in movies. Too much predictive programming too. Most movies are documentaries more than they are thought forms, thought processes, and general creativity. I do have a ton of Bloons plushies because the plushies are cute. No, I don't sleep with them. That's just childish. I have cats, and they sometimes nap with me, but not all the time. think we have too much to worry about, so we can just sell him. And just grab attack zone, because why not? And we're good to go. Downstream has been giving me hell the past couple days. Maybe that's because I got some Bloons rust after being out for so long, but it's also because this is just a tough map. It looks simple, but it's really not. There's a lot of close calls that happen. And you can know what's coming on round 63 and 70s and 80s and stuff, but that's when you start getting into the problems. You can only plan for so much because of the randomness that happens in the game. And done. One more to go. Okay, I'm sorry, 2 more to go. And now we're done. And that's that. Now there is just Impoppable and Chimps left, I believe. Yep. Impoppable and Chimps left. That is it. But that is enough Bloons for me for today, for now. Now we move on to the fun stuff, the more fun stuff. So I have a few things that I found that I think are absolutely atrocious. Things that are worth talking about. So, without further ado, so I found a few things that I think are terrible, terrible, toxic advice. And yeah, they're coming from men. 2 guys and 1 woman this time. The claims being made are so unhealthy. So very unhealthy. It's just mind-blowing that, I mean, in a world full of 7.5 billion people, give or take, it's a little bit more than that, but you know what I mean. I get that people may think similarly, but a lot of people really don't understand themselves enough to know why what they're thinking is not as accurate as it might seem. The issue with the red pill people and the woke people alike is that they're really one and the same, but they don't see it. It's honestly, truly mind-boggling to me that people try to sound like they're too masculine or too feminine or this or that, and then they become the Andrew Tates of the world. They become the general dregs of society of the world, who are really just angry at themselves or angry at the world in some way, shape, or form. But, well, Andrew Tate is just a trafficker. He is pretty much a monster, and that's just the reality of it. But when it comes to relationship advice, some of the stuff out here is just wild, people. It's just mind-blowingly wild, and I don't understand why anyone gets behind it. Because not only is it terrible, it's not basic psychology in any way. Most of it's repression, most of it's manipulation, and all the tactics that come along with those issues. So, without further ado, let's just dive into this absolute insanity that you're about to witness. Now, the second one isn't so bad in some ways, but we'll get into the real issues with that one. So, this one is short, so I won't really be interrupting.
The way a man becomes a loser in a relationship is he becomes overly feminized. One of the symptoms of being overly feminized is talking about emotions and getting emotionally upset. Now, it's okay to talk about positive emotions with the woman you're in love with. You're so beautiful. I love you so much. I missed you. You're my sweetheart. Oh, I'm so disappointed because I didn't get to see you. Oh my gosh, I care so much for you. These are all feelings, emotions, but they're positive. When women say they want feelings from men, they want positive feelings from men. That's what you want to do. Negative emotions is unmanly. That's how you destroy a relationship. By whining, by just think, anytime you complain, you're being a girl.
What?
It's gonna, and what happens is a little bit here and there to your buddies. Go talk to your guys about this. This is what guys do. We can complain to each other. But if you complain to a woman, you become feminized. She goes, oh, poor baby.
Wow.
Oh, and then she gets mad at you for complaining about her. So what a woman needs to feel more than anything is I can go up and down in my moods, and you'll stand there and you don't get affected by it.
There is everything wrong with this video that I'm just flabbergasted that this has 47,000 likes. That's 47,000 people you probably never want to meet, never want to date. And then everything else is probably AI bots. So, at least 70% of those people you probably never want to meet, because the level of repression here is so high that that's what's going to kill the relationship. The idea that you become feminized by expressing emotions, by having complaints, by feeling anything really, is just so patently false. Like, I don't know where these people get this idea. Chances are someone told this guy at some point in his life, whoever he is, that men feeling emotions is wrong. The whole boys don't cry bullshit that your parents try to teach you when you're growing up, which is just teaching you to repress yourself. They think it's teaching you to be tough. Well, that's not how you teach anyone to be tough. Toughness comes from making it through tough situations. Toughness comes not from not feeling pain, but from feeling pain. It's a tolerance buildup. And at a certain point, you're like, hey, I can handle these things because I've experienced them so many times before. But to call men feminized because they have complaints or they talk about negative emotions is just so unbelievably stupid. I have to wonder what all this guy himself is suppressing in his life. I don't even, you can't talk about that to your wife or your girlfriend. You can only talk about that with your buddies. So, translation, don't communicate with your wife or your girlfriend. Communication is bad. Communication makes you weak. Grr. This is like the worst of the worst when it comes to something that a man trying to give men advice could ever say. This right here is the epitome of what's wrong with the manosphere and all the red pill stupidity. Meanwhile, my shirt does state that I identify as a conspiracy theorist, but I also have a brain and I don't do echo chambers. So there's that. That's what separates me from the rest of the crowd out there. I just am completely taken aback by this because it's so completely unhealthy. Not just in the dating phase, but in a long-term relationship. And he says something at the end here. So what a woman needs to feel more than anything is I can go up and down in my moods and you'll stand there and you don't get affected by it. That goes both ways. Things happen in our lives as men and we get upset. We get hurt. We're allowed to feel that upset. We're allowed to feel that hurt. And never let anyone tell you otherwise, because anyone who is being manipulative. And not only are they being manipulative, they're gaslighting your feelings. They're telling you, oh, you can't feel that way and you shouldn't feel that way. You're teaching you to repress everything that you are. Now, should you learn to cope properly? Absolutely. Coping mechanisms are key. Journaling is number one. Journaling is number one when it comes to a coping mechanism. But maybe you have a hobby. Maybe you do martial arts. Maybe you go to the gym. Maybe you have other ways. You go for a walk in the park so you can get some fresh air, get some sunlight, and be out in nature for a little bit. So that way it'll bring you down. Or you have more time to work through whatever it is that you're feeling. But the idea that you should never talk about these things to a woman, with a woman, means one critical point. You lack vulnerability, and you will never have a successful relationship by bottling everything up. It will inevitably fail. And that is the truth. My cat is cooing at me. She may or may not be hungry, so I may have to step away in a moment. Let's go to the second video. This one, it's a double-edged sword. But the comment itself just seems suspect to me somehow. But let's watch.
You trust your partner completely, right? And then you find out something that completely destroys you. For 15 years, she didn't touch her partner's phone because she trusted him. And then one day, she asked to see her partner's phone as a joke. He wouldn't let her see it. And she was just joking. Of course, he has a right to privacy, right?
Yes, he does.
Well, that didn't sit too well with her, so she asked seriously. Well, I don't care what anybody says. I admire her courage. He still refused because he has a right to privacy, doesn't he? If you're in a relationship for 15 years, that's not privacy. That's secrecy. Well, after giving her heart and soul for 15 years, she then demanded to see the phone. And of course, that's none of her business, is it?
Nope.
Well, I disagree. What's on that phone is her business, because what was on that phone destroyed her life. I've been counseling individuals and couples for over 40 years. I believe in privacy, but I've never seen secrecy do anything worthwhile for a committed relationship or marriage. Your partner's not willing to share their phone with you. That's a big red flag.
So, like I said, this is a double-edged sword. Lola, are you hungry? 1 minute. I believe my cat might need food. Come on, Luna. Come on, sweetie. Yes, she did in fact need food. Now then, back to my point. This is a double-edged sword. No one is entitled to your anything in a relationship. You are entitled to privacy. It is not a red flag if someone refuses to let you go through their phone. Prime example, my cousin. He's a business owner. He runs a successful cigar lounge. He's built and sold multiple gyms. There are conversations in there that no one needs to see, frankly. Business conversations, text messages, and all those sorts of things that are not anyone's business. When you run a business, your partner is not in the business. So the partner doesn't need to see any text messages. Not only that, in this particular circumstance that's anecdotal, there isn't anything on the phone. Like, a lot of women see a message from a woman and then instant, you're cheating. And then that right there destroys all trust. That breaks the relationship. So there are situations that, like, no, you're not entitled to see whatever is on the phone. You know, it's out of respect for the people you're doing business with. Well, then you should just have 2 phones. Why? So you can waste more money? That's bad business. Now, 15 years, you would have thought at some point in there that this person would have already figured it out and left a long time ago. So, from my perspective, she saw the signs and chose to ignore them. Whatever signs that were there were absolutely there. They were ignored. And the funny part about this is, oh, well, I said it jokingly. No, you didn't. It was never meant as a joke. You just weren't upfront, and then you escalated. Now, this is also terribly anecdotal too, because A, there's no proof. B, the way the comment is written here, it seems very AI. Just the whole, what I found destroyed me. Like, that sounds like a YouTube title, frankly. This whole, oh, I asked seriously, then I demanded. Well, when you start demanding things, you don't get anything. So I find it hard to believe that she demanded, then he gave it to her, and then what she found destroyed her. Now, I'm not saying that that can't happen. What I'm saying is, more often than not, if you're demanding anything of anyone, you ain't getting shit. Unless you're the president or you're in a high-ranking position of power. Yes, you are entitled to privacy. However, secrecy is a different story, and secrecy is a thing. But secrecy has signs. And limiting one of those signs just to not being able to see your partner's phone is minuscule to other things. You know, the real thing you have to look for is, are they acting differently? When are they acting differently? And then you need to confront those issues. For example, I was with a woman in California a very long time ago, and I noticed one day that things were starting to act different. And I was on the computer, and I heard her release this giggle that I'd never heard before. And my bullshit alarm started ringing, and I turned and I was like, what's so funny over there? And then that escalated into a whole bunch of other stuff. Long story short, I came back home to Texas, and then I can't remember how many months later it was, but I was asleep and got a text from her where she was saying that she cheated on me. But by that point, I had already figured it out. So it's stuff like that. Is there weird reactions going on? Are they lost in their phone and doing, all this giggly stuff? And, just does their demeanor change in some way? You'll know if you've been paying attention, if you've been vulnerable with your partner, if you've really gotten to know the person, if you've studied the person. I mean, if you're in a relationship with them, you should know their patterns. And when that pattern deviates, then you have to start ringing the alarm bells. And that's when you have open communication. Seeing the phone alone isn't going to tell you what you need to know. Paying attention, that will tell you what you need to know. So no, you're not entitled to go through someone's phone. It is not a red flag if someone does not let you go through their phone. Now, that can have a caveat to it. If someone wouldn't even let you use their phone to call someone, that's when you might have a problem on your hands. But this is why it's important to communicate and be upfront, folks. Anything else is unacceptable. Now for this last clip. Oh, dear God. Why? Why does this have to exist?
So, you know what's...
Why does this have to exist? This is what's wrong with all you woke women out there. This video, and I've even done a little bit of digging, and even guys have made stupid ass videos about what you're about to see. Now, I may have to interrupt on this one, but everything that is in this video, I will just preface as Power Struggle 101.
It's funny about men. They fall in love when they're suffering. It is the most counterintuitive thing. And this is how you properly make him suffer. People get this so confused because they confuse the stuff at the beginning with love. It's not, it's lust. If you want a man to fall in love with you, you have to make him suffer.
Okay. False. If you purposely make someone suffer, you've already jumped to sociopath. If you think that making someone suffer is going to make them love you, you have a serious need for therapy. If anyone has the thought and intention of making me suffer to be with them, they can get the fuck out. It's really that simple. Now, her point about love and lust, that can be true at times. What you want to avoid is love bombing. Lust always happens up front. You're interested in each other. You find each other attractive physically, et cetera, et cetera. But to base an entire relationship or dating phase off of suffering, that's fucked up. I don't care who you are, but let's continue.
And it's not by being a bitch. No one wants to be with a bitch. It's by being difficult at the right moment.
No.
Men are wired to solve problems. That is the stuff that makes them fall. That is the stuff that makes them feel. You have to become the right kind of problem for him.
No. Absolutely not. This is manipulation. It's always going to be manipulation. It's avoidance. It's a lack of vulnerability. Men like to solve problems. Yeah, problems that we like or want to solve. This idea that you need to string a guy along, you need to be mysterious, you need to do all this other things. And this goes for the other side too, that you need to do this stuff to women. No, that's not how anything works. That's just straight up being fucking malicious. It's emotional manipulation. It's a power struggle. And it's completely and utterly unnecessary.
Now, I've heard women say before, be difficult to get and easy to be with. No. It does not just stop there. Your difficulty needs to be attached to your absence. That is the healthiest way to stress a man out. That's the healthiest way to consistently give him a problem to solve.
No. What she's saying here is you need to ignore him. It's just like these stupid dating guys out here who say, oh, well, don't text back immediately. Guys, gals, text back. Don't play stupid games. Don't play stupid power struggles. Don't start off on a manipulative foot because nobody wins. I just, the gall that this chick has, whoever she is. No, the healthiest way. So your difficulty needs to be attached to your absence, whatever. No. Your absence needs to have a reason for the absence, mainly being that you have other hobbies, you have things that you're doing. But that doesn't mean you just don't reply. You don't give one-liners. You don't do all that kind of stuff. That's not a problem to solve. That tells us that you are a problem. And it should tell a woman that the man is a problem until they have an actual discussion about what's going on. Why are you not communicating well? Have I said something that you dislike? All of these things matter. If you don't have open and honest communication, you don't have a relationship. Period.
Is the healthiest way to stress a man out. That's the healthiest way to consistently give him a problem to solve. When you are busy, living an amazing life, you're fulfilled, you barely have time for him.
Do you see that right there? You barely have time for him. Let's translate that. You're living your life and you're choosing to ignore him. Because that's what it actually is. That's all you're really doing. And vice versa. You're choosing to ignore her when you don't reply to that text immediately. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I repeat, it does not matter what you're doing. If you're at work, that's another story. But the general context of what I'm saying is you have the time to reply in a timely fashion. Not 2 days later, not 3 days later, because by that point, either the guy has moved on or he's figured out that you're not worth the time.
That is what stresses him out. You can't fake this shit because they can see right through it. When you actually are living your amazing life and you're barely making time to fit him in it, that's when he's afraid to lose you. That's when he suffers. If
you believe that relationships are built on being afraid to lose a partner rather than being a supportive partner with boundaries, you're a fool. You are a complete fool. This kind of stuff is so unhealthy. I want you to hear that again.
Your amazing life and you're barely making time to fit him in it. That's when he's afraid to lose you.
We are not afraid to lose you. In fact, we are quite happy to kick you out when you play these stupid power struggle games. This is emotional manipulation. There's nothing within this that is positive dating psychology or relationship psychology, and it never will be. A relationship should be built on vulnerability, open communication, shared interests, and certainly not fear. Who knew?
That's when he suffers. If you're dating, he should not know that he'll have another date with you. If you're in a relationship, he should worry that he could lose you at any moment because you don't need him. He needs you. And that's power.
She just admitted right there, the power struggle. It goes both ways. You could lose a man at any time for any reason, right? But then you'll go on TikTok and you'll play victim, or you'll play pretend relationship coach, or you'll play pretend dating advice. But what you're actually doing is teaching everyone all your little narcissistic and sociopathic tactics. And this is why you end up single and alone, and no one wants to talk to you other than the people in your echo chamber. This is liberalism. This is wokeism, stupid ideologies that are based in a poor self-image. Abuse is never okay. At the start of a relationship, in the middle of one, at the end of one. And I've been on both sides of that, so I can say that very personally. Because no one is perfect. We've all made mistakes. I've been the abused. I've been the abuser. And that's how you grow. By not being perfect. And understanding what you did wrong. By being vulnerable. By having communication skills. By having coping skills. All of those things combined are what lead to a healthy, sustainable, long-term relationship. Now, there are some comments down here. This woman right here. Even in my marriage, I don't need my husband. And he knows it. And he treats me like a goddess. It's not even manipulation. It is manipulation, and you're gaslighting yourself. It's not reality because the shoe is on the other foot. Now, chances are you might have some weak dude and he's not privy to the games. But no, you don't get treated like a goddess. You're probably projecting a whole bunch of crap here, but it is manipulation. Oh, nice, queen. None of you are queens. Making my own money is a huge one. Well, you should both be making your own money in some way, obviously. And leaving a sense of mystery. No, that's called omission. And omission is lying. Omission is manipulation. Therefore, we come back to the fact that it is manipulation. I sometimes politely tell him when a man hits on me, he's replaceable. Sounds gross, LOL, but I love him. No, you don't. And this poor abused man has probably given up. And I hope that he realizes that you are not worth anything. It's people like this that are the problem in dating and in the world. This is why it's so hard for people to communicate, to be honest with each other, to be open with each other. It's absolutely ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is that people actually think that this is good advice. But again, we get back to the point of the echo chamber, and most of these women are, right there in the echo chamber. Healthy men don't fall in love through suffering. They fall in love through connection, clarity, respect, warmth, and awe. That is correct. The only person here was sanity, but everyone else is in an echo chamber. If you don't need to drive anyone crazy on a first date, good Lord, it gets worse. The rabbit hole just gets worse and worse. Ugh, God, why TikTok? Why? Goodness gracious. I just can't, man. Like, it blows my mind that people think that this is healthy in any way. All you're doing is making yourself suffer. And if you are a man and you notice that any of this kind of stuff is going on, just get out. Just go away. Get rid of her. It works both ways. And then they're going to go on TikTok and they're going to Darvo. They're going to reverse it all. And they're going to play victim. And they're only going to give one side, which is their side. And it's all anecdotal. It's all for attention. You don't really know what's what. So you can't really believe whatever you're hearing from these types of people out there. Like, why? Why do so many people have to pretend like they're experts? And that other guy, the second video, he has no credentials. 0 credentials. Think about that. If you go to his website, all it is a crappy click to have a one-on-one, click for coaching, blah, blah, blah. And then claims that he's been a business consultant for 40 years. No actual information. No, hey, this is my degree. I graduated from here. None of this stuff. But yeah, sure, I'm going to teach you to fix your relationships in this one-on-one call. No, you're not. And the other thing that you'll notice about these people is they don't have any reviews. All their reviews are fake. I worked for some of the biggest internet marketers out there. I worked for Billie Jean Marketing. I worked for Dominate Web Media. I nearly became a speaker for Tony Robbins. Thank God I didn't. I've placed top in Grant Cardone's bullshit. Thank God I recognized what he was doing and got the hell away from him too, that crazy Scientologist bastard. But, point being, they all teach you to fake your reviews to a certain degree. And then they cherry pick, right? As a business, of any kind, you should have both positive and negative reviews. No business is perfect, period. And review gating is another thing that they teach you, which is an FTC violation. So all of these supposed love and dating and relationship coaches who have no credentials, they have no psychology background or anything of the sort. They have no business out here doing these things, talking about these things, because the only thing they're giving you is a skewed perspective. They're telling you their own fucked up belief systems. And thank God they are, because then you know that you don't want to deal with those people. You don't need them in your life. So, yeah. When you see these people, do your digging, do your research, because I promise you, you're going to see a shoddy website. You're going to see a few links to click to book a call for an enormous amount of money. And then you're going to see all this stuff about, oh, well, you know, exclusivity this, exclusivity that. Blah, 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 blah. And all it is misleading bullshit. That's all it is. That's all it will ever be. Goodness gracious. I will be right back. My other cat is hungry. Life is busy. When you have 4 cats, it's very busy. But be very careful when you are dealing with these relationship coaches, please, because none of them are coaches. None of them are certified or qualified in psychology, therapy, or anything else, because you have to become a board certified therapist to even do relationship or mental health profession in general. It is so disingenuous. And again, just I have to reiterate, if you can't find any reviews on the people from anyone, or you only find positives, run far. Run very far. All right. So I caught this. And oh boy. Like, so, you know, I guess trying to kill the president now is the in thing to do, right? And it shouldn't be. You can disagree with someone all you want, but wanting to kill them, wanting to see them unalived, that's a problem. That's a global problem. That's a national problem. Assassination is illegal for a reason. I mean, this kind of stuff is mind-boggling to me.
I can't believe they don't like my chalk art.
Yeah.
I can.
I don't think they understand
8647.
the principle of concentration when it comes to application. Yeah. It's like, it's chalk powder, people.
Taco Trail.
It's the Taco Trail. And of course, the guy from the pawn shop came out to be like, I'm calling the police on you because I'm a dumb shit. I'm like, it's just chalk, buddy, but good luck. And so D647 means Deep 647. He is a traitor to us. And there's the Republican office right there that supports him because they think he's so amazing. They think all of us are unintelligent in comparison to them.
Well, I mean, look what you're doing, lady. You are absolutely unintelligent. You're literally calling for the murder of the president. Why you people are allowed to walk freely would boggle my mind if I didn't already know how rigged the system is. This kind of stuff shouldn't be tolerated. And I hope they go find this woman. I hope that she sees some kind of repercussions with her cat eye bullshit glasses. Like, they all look the same. It's either thick black rim glasses or they got cat eye glasses. I mean, really. Hair color, that doesn't determine anything for the most part. There are other telltale signs, but it's like you're all carbon copies out there. All of you liberal women, you all look the same. Completely. But the bigger issue is like, why are we tolerating this? You can disagree with Trump all you want. I disagree with Trump on certain things. I disagree that the economy has gotten better. If you think the economy is currently better, you're a moron. Maybe in some ways, in some instances it is. But generally speaking, the cost of living hasn't really gone down for most people. And just because you disagree does not mean that you have the right to express that you want to see this person killed. Period. It's a federal crime. Federal. Think about that. A federal crime that you are committing. And the taco thing, Trump avoids something, I forget what is it. Let me find it. It's somewhere down here. Goodness gracious. It has nothing to do with tacos. Forget. I'll find it eventually. Hold on. Oh, of course. It has something to do with Trump and correctness or some stupidity like that. But it's just stupid. It really is. And yes, it makes you sick in the head. And then, you know, this idea like she's parading around and prancing that like, oh, because we're so unintelligent. Well, you are. You're breaking multiple laws. Therefore, yeah, you're pretty damn unintelligent. And yes, this person is quite an idiot to be posting something like this. Completely agreed. But what I don't understand is why? Why are you people so comfortable with this? Why are people so comfortable with doxing? Why are people so comfortable with swatting? All of these things are just wrong. They're an assault on people's freedoms. They're an assault on people's lives. And the fact that anyone can sit here in their right mind and think that it's free speech or that it's okay is just completely delusional. There it is. I don't get the taco thing. Yeah. Trump always chickens out. Well, what is he chickening out of? Trump has been dealing with serious problems, really serious problems. In these 5 months, a lot of stuff has gotten done. And, you know, we're saying, oh, well, somehow drugs have mysteriously disappeared from the border and blah, blah, blah. Well, what do you think happens when you have standards and you have laws and you actually go do them? How are you chickening out when you are ending the drug trade? When you're removing illegals, because that's what they are. When you're arresting corrupt judges and politicians. How are you chickening out exactly? There's no example. There's no real example. And it just really, really boggles the mind, man. Trump tax bill will add $2.4 trillion to the deficit and leave 10.9 million more uninsured. Well, insurance is a scam, so that's a good rant for me on that end. Is insurance is a scam. It is a literal Ponzi scheme tied into the legal system. Because we'll like if you even go look at coverage for homes today, all these storms and stuff, they're starting to update policies to where, oh, well, if this happened, if your home was hit by a hurricane, we're not going to cover you. And then you're left homeless. Yeah, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Dental insurance, health insurance, car insurance, all of these things are just scams. They pick and choose what they're going to cover. They do everything they can to not cover it, because then they have to dip into their Ponzi scheme fund in order to pay for it. And I think that the health system needs complete reform, just like the prison system needs complete reform. Home insurance, I mean, home insurance, again, like anything else, all that does is say, if this happens, we'll cover a portion of it. Not all insurance is comprehensive, and if you lose your home entirely, they're going to rebuild it. Nope. Even then, they can find ways to screw you out of money and screw you out of a living. I've never been a fan of insurance of any kind. I don't believe in insurance. Now, I'm not saying that as I don't have any. I think that the concept of insurance is just completely wrong. Scammy, scummy, and doesn't really help anyone in the long run. And then you have to have inspectors come around multiple times to inspect things, check the damage and this and that, to ultimately probably get very little out of it. Just enough to say that, oh, well, we did something. Not enough to actually have made it worth the money that you have paid in to that insurance fund to make it justifiable. So I've never really been a fan of insurance. But that's just a baseless rant, really. I only say that because I see the word insured. Oh boy, what is this? Yeah, bankrupting America is not okay. That's true. I'm not a fan of Elon Musk in the slightest. You know, anytime you see someone's mother doing this, you probably should look the other way and go type in Illuminati and figure out what the hell that means. But left eye symbolism is all about. Yeah, if something's wrong, it should be called out, no matter if it's Trump or whoever. But at the same time, there's a gigantic military operation going on right now, whether anyone wants to admit that or not. Number 17 is an important number. But certain things, yes, they should be called out. But certain things are also psyops or misinformation. And I think that's what most people struggle with, is telling truth from fiction. But most people are reactionary. They just react. They don't actually go research. They don't go do the reading. They don't go do the digging, because that's where the CIA used the term conspiracy theory to discredit people who do the real journalism, who do the real work. So when someone speaks out against whatever scandal may be going on, they're not taken seriously enough. I mean, CSA is a prime example. Epstein, Diddy, and all the thousands of other people who've been arrested over the past 8 years. That's why you're seeing all this happen. And as someone who worked in the music industry and the entertainment industry for a long time, I can tell you there is a reckoning coming. And your favorite stars, they're part of it all too. When I was engineering, I worked for Rock Nation Records for a little bit, did a couple tracks there. I had my mastering engineer that was Defy Recordings up in NYC, Robert L. Smith. He's responsible for hits like I Don't Want to Miss a Thing from Aerosmith, Lady Gaga's first album, stuff like that. There are people doing horrible things, and they will come down. They are coming down. It's all being exposed. It's all being proven. This corruption has to go. This depravity has to go. And people have to stop defending it. There's no reason to ever defend human depravity. None. And I'm talking the real bad stuff, which is what we're focused on here. Not being a little shit and pulling pranks on people. We're talking about the big stuff. The things that happen to children, the people that are involved with it. Matter of fact, believe this was, who was it? This guy right here. The mayor of a small Georgia town has been arrested along with his wife in a case involving crimes against children. The mayor is accused of engaging in sexual acts with multiple children while his wife has been charged with cruelty. Both were released on bond. Really? Released on bond. Think about that. With a city official, a mayor gets out on bond for CSA. This is corruption at the very top. Period. And now, what's the name of this town? You can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't. Mayor of Climax resigns from office after being charged for child molestation. You can't make up the headlines, folks. Whether or not you want to believe it is your own delusion. But it's happening in your backyard. It's happening in your town. And it's being covered up. It's being hush-moneyed away. None of these people should be pardoned. None of these people should be out on bond. They should be sitting in prison while the investigation occurs, not trying to scramble whatever they can to run away, to try and pay people off. None of these sort of things. If you are a mayor of a city and you are accused of crimes against children, the only thing you deserve is to sit in isolation while the investigators and journalists do their work to ensure that you pay for your crimes. I think this is ridiculous. And there should be serious consequences for this person and his wife. A good 20 years in prison, if they even made it that long, because they wouldn't. There should be no protections afforded. There should be no house arrest, no nothing. Put these people into Gen Pop. Let the issue take care of itself. That's what needs to happen. And, you know, I've actually spoke about this with my therapist before. This is such a big problem in the world. And it matters because we're talking to children here. And as a spiritual person, it's hard to bridge the gap between that kind of depravity and forgiveness. And that is what I've had conversations about. How do you forgive monsters like this? Now, you can always go back in someone's history and say, well, it probably happened to them, but what if it didn't? Well, then they may be socio. They could be psycho. But something happened in their lives. Or they were just flat out power hungry and thought they could get away with it. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. It's hard to find forgiveness for these sorts of acts. Because the person that you did this to, the child you did this to, is innocent. And you just took away their innocence. You took away their ability to have fun, to feel joy for at least a significant amount of time in their life. Now, I'm not speaking for anyone. That's just the reality of it. Yes, CSA survivors get past those things, but they're also scarred and left with those memories for the rest of their lives. As anyone who's been through trauma, sexual or otherwise, often does. But consequences must happen for these people because it's the right thing to do. Otherwise, these children don't see justice. And that just proves everything that Q17 has said. These people are monsters. I've witnessed it myself in the music and wrestling industry. These people are everywhere. They have infected every corner of society like disgusting little cockroaches. When I was active in the wrestling business, I had guys admit things to me that I didn't even know how to deal with at that time. I wouldn't have, without having the time to sit down and think about, wow, I can't believe that dude actually said that to me. Case in point, there was a guy that was relatively new to the wrestling business around here. And, everyone liked him, but he was really quiet. He was sort of awkward, yada, yada. Well, fast forward a few years later, and I was at his house. My trainer and him, his wife, yada, yada, were obviously all there. Well, his wife had this little shack that was where she did her hair cutting business. And, she was really drunk and I'd never seen her that way. She had said something to me and I was really taken aback. I was like, are you flirting with me? How am I supposed to respond to this? I'm like, what? So I get out for a while due to injuries and then find out he went to jail for messing with his kids who were all under 10 years old, mind you. And then everything just fell right into place. And I understood what happened that day. And I understood why my trainer was staying so close to him. He was keeping tabs. And my trainer, Zach, he has a psychology degree. He would hate if I told anyone that, but you don't know who he is, so it's fine. But when you realize just how close it is to you, how close it has been your whole life, and people you thought you could trust. I mean, another prime example. A wrestling promoter that I worked for most of my career, he got found out for messing with a 15 or 16-year-old. And his daughter had barely turned like 17 or 18, I think. He's been blackballed from the business. A lot of people have been, and for good reason. And we can only hope that they'll get caught. But no one did anything about that one. That one kind of worked itself out. But when you've seen it, when you've heard about it, when you've been quite literally right there with it, but had no idea what was going on, that's what makes you angry about it. That's what makes you feel so vigilant about wanting to end this plague of pedos. Because that's what it is. The groomers, the pedos, the LGBTers, like the trans people, really, they're all pedos for the most part. Everyone else is just lost and has severe gender dysphoria. But I digress a little bit to get to my point that when you've experienced and seen all these things and like it really turns your soul, and you realize that it's so much bigger than you could ever imagine. From the smallest towns to the biggest cities to the most high up in music and entertainment and politics, they're all involved in this stuff. That's why it's such a problem. And that's why I think it's so strange that back in the day, they were really pounding Trump about, they say you're going to arrest satanic pedophiles. Okay, and what's the problem with that? Why do you have a problem with it? Shouldn't you be overjoyed about that? Yeah, I would think so. To not be overjoyed about it, that is just very strange. All of that kind of stuff just really irks me because it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be given a slap on the wrist. May as well hit that button too. And by the way, make sure that if you are interested in following me, you just come on over here, Cosmic Calico X, here on X. And I'm just going to go and hit Asmon Gold there because we all know that. But yeah, if you would like to, you can follow me here. I have 0 followers. Let's get that to 10 or 11. And I'm going to call it a day today. That's it. And I will see you guys next time, which will be on Friday. Until then, be sure to follow me on YouTube at Cosmic Calico. And remember, one more time, follow me right here on X at Cosmic Calico X.